Timeline Fluency, review all year, and ace star. You need your history notebook. As you watch the video, complete the timeline in your notebook. Pay attention to the speaker because you'll be asked to place special symbols on the paper to prove that you are watching it. The teacher will tell you where to place the symbols. If you do not have these symbols on your timeline, you will not receive credit for completion. You must watch the video and complete the tasks. Okay, our other thing that helps us remember all of our information before we get to star is, of course, going to be our timeline. So let's go ahead and draw that line right at the top. We're going to be adding some new stuff to our timeline, so we got to make sure we spread it out and we're not too scrunched up. Here we go. How do we remember the events in our timeline? We, of course, have that mnemonic phrase that goes, "My cat just vomited purple marshmallows after riding carousels, licking purple colored water." There we go, and that helps us lay it out, that mnemonic phrase, "My cat just vomited purple marshmallows after riding carousels, licking purple colored water." Ew, super gross, but it helps us remember these events. All right, when we say my cat, we are, of course, talking about the Magna Carta, which goes all the way back to 1215. You do have to memorize these dates. You got to know your dates. The just vomited is none other than Jamestown, Virginia. Anytime I write Jamestown, see the word Jamestown, I'm going to want to go, okay, I got to change my S to a dollar sign. Money, money, money. It is economic. And Jamestown, Virginia is founded in 1607. PM, my purple marshmallows is Plymouth, Massachusetts, with my Puritans. And we're going to change that T to a cross, and that is in the year 1620. What I want you to do right now is go ahead and draw an arrow from 1607 to 1620. Everybody draw an arrow right here so we can make sure that you are paying attention. 1607 to 1620. AR is, of course, going to be none other than the American Revolution, which we're going to get to start pretty soon, and we have some other tricks to remember our revolution. July 4th, 1776. We love our July 4th, and it ends with the Treaty of Paris in 1783. The C stands for our Constitution. The Constitution gets written in 1787. LP, we all learned about LP, doubling size of the United States. You guys learned about it in your Texas history class. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803. And then another thing that you've already learned about, a little bit about, is going to be none other than the Civil War. And the Civil War begins in 1861 when South Carolina secedes, and it ends in 1865. All right, so we got our timeline, but it's not enough to have our timeline. We need to see how all these events are connected. So we're going to start with the Magna Carta. And the reason we go all the way back to 1215 is because when the colonists showed up in Jamestown, Virginia, they already had ideas. They had ideas about the government. And so what idea is it from the Magna Carta? It is this idea of limited government. The government cannot just do whatever it wants. The people in government cannot just do whatever they want. They are limited by the people, which right now, go ahead, right under limited government, draw me a stick figure, draw me a little person, right there. Give me just a little head, little body, some legs and arms. Because limited government, we live in a country, the colonies were based upon this idea that the people are a part of it. And so when 1607 rolls around and the colonists come to Jamestown, Virginia, and they decide to stay, they go, okay, we have limited government. We're going to add to that idea with representative government. We're going to elect representatives. We know that they have that because they have the House of Burgesses in that representative government, making sure that the people have a voice inside their government. And then in 1620, when the Puritans come over to Plymouth, Massachusetts, they accidentally get blown off course and land all the way up in Massachusetts. They're going to say, okay, we have limited government. We can have representative government, because they had it in Jamestown. We're going to add to it with this idea of self-government. We're going to take it upon ourselves. Specifically, what type of self-government? It is going to be a democracy, the voice of the people. And we know that they had this because they signed the Mayflower Compact. They signed the Mayflower Compact before they exit that boat to make sure that the voice of the people are heard. And then the House of Burgesses, of course, gives us our representatives. So we actually live in a democratic republic because of these two colonies. And also because the king does not really stop them. He's just like, it's fine. As long as I'm making my money, I don't really care what you do. You want to pretend you have representatives? Go for it. You want to pretend you have a democracy and a voice? Go for it. When he ignores what they're doing, we call that salutary neglect. He is ignoring what they're doing. And why is he ignoring them? Well, because he's too far. He can't really enforce the laws. And it's not just one king, it's multiple kings, because this happens for 150 years. But there's something that's going to change it. There's one war that changes it all, and this war is going to be none other than the French and Indian War. So everybody add that right there, the French and Indian War. And why don't you, for me right now, go ahead and box French and Indian War. Everybody box it right now. I'm not going to box it, but I want you to box it. It is because of the French and Indian War that we get led into the American Revolution. But to know what it is from the French and Indian War, we have a mnemonic phrase. We have a mnemonic saying. It's that French and Indian War, that proclamation line that we do on the map, and then also that debt that leads to new laws, new acts, and new taxes. And so how do we remember the taxes that come on the colonies? We tell ourselves, Nate Smith saves quarters daily. Nate Smith saves quarters daily to buy better iPhones. That's a long one. Nate Smith saves quarters daily to buy better iPhones. And so right there, Nate Smith is, of course, the Navigation Act. You can only trade with England. Say Nate Smith. Smith is going to be the Sugar Act right there, which taxes sugar and molasses coming from the West Indies. Nate Smith saves. That is going to be the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act is, of course, going to put a tax on printed materials, and they put a stamp on it to make sure you paid it. The Q saves quarters. That should be an easy one. It is, of course, the Quartering Act, where the colonists have to provide housing for our British soldiers. The D, this is a funny one because it's the Declaratory Act. It's the law to say you need to follow the laws. A law that says you have to follow the laws. So am I really breaking one law or two laws if I don't follow the laws? You can tell the king is really losing power. Nate Smith saves quarters daily too. That is none other than the Townshend Act. See, this is where the king tried to be sneaky. He thought he was going to sneak in some new taxes on the colonies. We're going to collect it at the seaports, on the ships, and not to the colonists directly. They won't even know. Well, the prices are going up and up and up and up. They know. Go ahead right here at Townshend Act and draw me an up arrow. Right there, because our prices go up. Nate Smith saves quarters daily to buy. That is none other than our Boston Massacre, where those 5 innocent colonists are killed. Nate Smith saves quarters daily to buy better. That is none other than our Boston Tea Party, where they're going to dump the tea into the Boston Harbor. And then my iPhones is going to be the intolerable acts. We cannot tolerate what the king is doing to us. Go ahead and put a sad face right there. And these are, of course, our causes to the revolution. Nate Smith saves quarters daily to buy better or bigger iPhones. Navigation, sugar, stamped, quartering, declaratory, Townsend, Boston Massacre, Boston Tea Party, intolerable acts. If you don't have it right now, I promise we'll do it over and over and over again, and it'll be stuck in your brain. And next we get to talk about the American Revolution.